Kobe Bryant, just saying the name brings up these images of impossible shots, championship celebrations, and this fire, this competitive drive that was just on another level. But what really made him a global icon? Okay, let's really get into it. Because to understand the legend of Kobe, you have to look past the highlights and really break down what made him so great. 81. Just look at that number for a second. In 2006, Kobe Bryant dropped 81 points in a single NBA game. That's the second most ever in the entire history of the league. Seriously, it's a number that sounds like it should be in a video game, not real life. But here's the thing. About that crazy 81-point game, it wasn't a fluke. Not even close. It was really the ultimate highlight of a career that was just built brick by brick on staggering achievements. I mean, just look at this list. It's ridiculous. 5 NBA championships? That puts you in the absolute rarest of company. An all-star 18 times? That's almost 2 decades of being one of the best players on the planet. And yeah, he could score over 33,000 career points, but he was a winner with 2 Finals MVPs, 2 Olympic golds to prove it. And you gotta remember, this whole thing started when he was just a kid, 17 years old, coming straight out of high school. The sheer scale of what he accomplished is, well, it's just breathtaking. So you see all of that, and you just have to ask, how, What was powering this guy? What was the engine behind this almost obsessive need to win? Because talent alone gets you into the league, but it doesn't explain 20 years of pure dominance. To get that answer, we need to look at the on-court persona he created for himself. It was this identity he built that let him channel all of that intensity, and it came with a name that would become absolutely legendary. He started calling himself the Black Mamba, and this was so much more than just a cool nickname. It was a symbol for how lethal he was as a scorer and how fierce he was as a competitor. He basically built an alter ego, right? A different animal he could become the second he stepped on the court, separating Kobe the person from Kobe the competitor. And from that persona, this whole philosophy was born, one that would end up defining him and inspiring millions. The Black Mamba was powered by something he called the Mamba Mentality. You could almost say it was the operating system for his incredible talent. All right, so what is this Mamba Mentality we hear so much about? Let's unpack what it actually means, because this is really the key that unlocks the whole Kobe Bryant story. At its core, Mamba Mentality is basically another way of saying an insane work ethic. And we're not just talking about working hard. We're talking about an obsession with the process. It's about being the first guy in the gym, and I mean like 4 a.m. first, and the absolute last one to leave. It's about mastering every tiny detail of your craft when no one is watching. The idea was simple, but powerful. If you outwork everybody else, you're eventually gonna outperform them. Now, this is where the story gets really interesting. Was this intense mindset something that only worked for basketball, or could you take that same obsessive focus and apply it to anything else? And as it turns out, the last chapter of his life was all about answering that exact question. He made it his mission to prove that the things that made him great on the court were universal, and he did it by showing off a range of talents that was just stunning. Just look at this comparison. It's wild. The same person who is an 18-time NBA All-Star also won an Academy Award. The guy with over 33,000 points was also fluent in Italian. The 5-time champion poured that exact same champion's energy into creating a beautiful, Oscar-winning film. So what's the takeaway? The mentality. It worked everywhere. His mission to be excellent? It was truly universal. He spent part of his childhood in Italy, and he didn't just learn a few phrases. He became totally fluent. And then, after basketball, he pivots to Hollywood and storytelling. And he applies that same Mamba-level obsession and wins an Oscar. His drive, it just didn't have any boundaries. So when you talk about Kobe's legacy, you really have to look at the whole picture. It isn't just about the points, or the rings, or the trophies. It's about the lasting impact of his entire approach, not just to work, but to life. Which really brings us to the big final question, doesn't it? When you boil it all down, how do you actually build a legacy like his? How do you create something that lasts long after you're gone? The answer is right there. It's built with a Mamba mentality. His legacy isn't just a trophy case, it's a blueprint. It's a mindset for how to attack any challenge in any field with an unbelievable work ethic and a total belief in the process. And that's a lesson that goes so far beyond sports. It's really a challenge to all of us to ask more of ourselves, no matter what our court happens to be.